So I was asked to an update to my Bruce list, or like my Soul Charge variant of my Bruce list, like quite a while ago, and then like I was asked again by another person. So like I recently picked the deck back up. Not like per se like pick the deck back up, but basically like this is like if you check my like Bruce videos, my Soul Charge Bruce videos from like what basically like a month ago now, like a couple weeks ago now, like it's basically the exact same list. Like I just maxed out on the cards I needed to get maxed out on, and it doesn't use any of the new cards. Like I tried really hard to incorporate the new cards. Like that grade 2 is really good. I like that grade 3. The grade 1 is the grade 1's okay. The grade 1's pretty meh. But I really tried to play those new cards, but like it was just like the old support cards that we were using were like far superior. So let's get into the deck profile. Let me try not be too loud now since the AC cut off and people are sleeping. I'm playing 4 grade 4 Bruce. You know, he's what the deck is focused around. Just getting like 6 attacks, 2 Vanguard swings is very deadly. For Brian, I strongly believe that if you're playing this version of Bruce, grade 4 Bruce, like Brian is like necessary. It's very necessary to just make your Vanguard threatening, to have at least like 1 extra crit, to whereas they can't say no guard without you threatening lethal, basically. Like if you're playing grade 4 Bruce, like this is like, it's, in my opinion, it's like very mandatory, just because like it makes your final rush like most like almost like what 80 like 90% of the time that like I get to my first final rush, I win the game right there. So of course like there's other factors, but like usually you get out on the first one. If you don't, like this deck has the ability to like survive an opponent's turn 4 or turn 5 to be able to get them on the next one. And then 4 of the, oh no, you can't see that at all. I gotta do this every video, don't I? Let me see here. What's the best way? I think the best way is this way. Yeah, let me just do it like this. Then I got 4 Pandemonium Tactics. This is again, this is like the Soul Charge version of the deck, which I prefer. I know a lot of people don't like the Soul Charge version of the deck because like they're scared of deck out, but I've never decked out with this deck, like not even once. I either won the game or I lost the game. Like again, like I could say the same thing with Barrel Magnus. Like I know people are scared of like decking out in like these decks, but I've never decked I've decked out in Greedon. But like at least Greedon has like quote unquote a rear guard that helps it finish the game now. But in these types of decks I've never decked out. This is just very helpful. Just feeds your soul for Brian, feeds your soul for Bruce, and usually you have like enough, like more than enough left over to just do the skill again without like worrying about like, damn, like I need this card, I need that card to get me to like, you know, I need Marjorie's, or like I need Derek's to like help me feed my soul. Like usually that's not a problem if you practice at least once. You don't want to activate this more than once. Like there are times like you're allowed to be greedy because you know if you activate this you just pretty much win the game. So I have activated it more than once, like twice I think is like the max. I haven't activated it 3 times, but just because like that's 5 cards out of your deck. But yeah, maxing out on 4 copies just because it's very important to see it, and usually when I see it in multiples I just pitch them because again most of the time you just need to proc it the one time. And then onto the grade 2s. I've seen people like cut this card to like 3 copies, 2 copies. Like this is the bread and butter of your deck. You're like a very combo reliant strategy, and then just like activating this card like once or like twice, it feeds your soul, number 1. Number 2, it clears out interceptors. That's what I usually use this effect for during the main phase. Just like even if they have like a really like annoying unit, I usually go for the interceptors first just to like guarantee that my opponent doesn't have a way of like squeezing out of my turn 4, my kill turn, you know, my turn 4 kill turn. So it's very important for me to max these cards out at 4 copies, and usually if I see multiples, I just start rushing with them. And you know, when people start seeing Derek's on board, like they generally like start attacking it or start like trying to retire it with like effects, and he just basically becomes a martyr, to where it's like the reason I committed this card is because I had an extra copy. So that's why like I maxed it out at 4 copies. This like I use this like 2 times, like 3 times maximum I think, but most of the time I just like use it like twice, at least twice per game. Any more than that's just basically like overkill. Like it's like I can understand why people are afraid to run this version of the deck. Like this deck can like deck out, like you can like run very low on your deck by like turn 4, by like turn 5, but if you really just, it's more of like managing your resources. You really shouldn't be afraid of decking out. You should be more worried about like, okay, like turn 4 is where I close out the game, like turn 5 max depends on like how many pieces I have and like what I'm able to do. And then I tried running the new grade 2 more what's her name, Megana over Eden. Eden is just too valuable in this deck right now because of the crit, because you can just make very powerful rearguard lines with your powerful Vanguard. Like I said, you're using Brian to give your Vanguard a crit. You're going to swing with your rearguards and you're going to swing with your Vanguard with a crit, and then you restand everything. Everything has crits. So usually by this time, like by this stage in the turn, everything's swinging for lethal. So like Eden is just very important in like your kill combo essentially, and also in early game, because generally people do like to rush this deck in the early. It is kind of weak in the early, and that's why it's just very important to have this card to be able to fight back. And also Derek. Derek is also really good, especially like if you're in the mirror match. Like there's a lot of times that like if I didn't have Edens, I just use Derek to kill their booster so they don't get the draw. Like it's a -1, but like it's like one of those like early game plays that I'm willing to make, or like weird cheeky early game plays that I'm willing to make just to like hinder them. But yeah, these are the only 2s you're running. You don't really need any other 2s. There's no space for anything else. All my other main deck cards, like I dedicated to grade 1s. So 4 PGs, not much to talk about here. And then 4 Brain Swirler. Like I said, this is like the soul charge version of the deck, so it's very key that I maximize on Pandemonium Tactics. Like ideally you want to have an Eden in front of a Brain Swirler and then activate Pandemonium, so that the Brain Swirlers are like 33k boosters, 38k boosters, and then you're just be swinging Eden with a crit. Eden's gonna be like 30 or like at least 25 depending on like how many Brian activations you're able to get off. But it's very important you max this card out at 4. Like I said, it also helps you if you're soul charging. It helps you get certain number of cards in soul for Derek, because Derek pops cards in multiples of 4. So every 4 cards in your soul, so it's very key for that. And the final grade 2, not grade 2, the final grade 1 that I am running is, I'm running 2, what's this guy? Diablos Jetter Wade. Now I'm running 2 Wade because there are games that you don't see. Let's say like you don't see Brian, and quote unquote you don't see Pandemonium Tactics. Like there are games where like if you don't, it's okay if you see one of these, but if you don't see like both, it's like really bad. But like Wade is just there to give an additional power to your Vanguard. So like if you use just 1 Brian and 1 Pandemonium Tactics, your Vanguard is going to be 28 by itself. But if you use Wade, that's 38. Or if you use Pandemonium Tactics and Wade, and then your Vanguard's swinging for 33. And then if you use Brian, at least 1 Brian on top of that, that's 38. So it just helps make your Vanguard to more like bigger numbers, to whereas like they have to either force a PG or like a 3 to 4 card guard. Because most of the time your Vanguard is going to be swinging for 3 to 4 criticals. Because Pandemonium Tactics also gives your Vanguard a crit. So usually I get a crit off Pandemonium. Like I said, it really heavily depends on how many Brians I'm able to activate in that turn. But I usually able to get like at least two more criticals on my Vanguard, if not 3. Onto the triggers. This deck, I don't believe in draw I don't believe in draw triggers. Like I'm really like heavily like this deck really needs the fronts, and the front triggers are just like every time I check the front on my turn 4, my opponent wished I didn't. Like it was just very like it just helps win the game. Whereas like the crits do too. That's why like you're playing 7. That's why like I'm playing 7 crits. But like the fronts is just very necessary to keep you in the game until you're able to do your turn 4 push or like your turn 4 kill ideally. So yeah. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. So yeah, 4 fronts, and then 7 crit. You can see that? Yeah, you can see that. 7 crit, 4 heal, and then one of the Dark States Overtrigger. There's really not much to talk about. The Dark States Overtrigger is just good anytime you flip it during the game. Like in the early game, like in the late game. It's just very like good. So yeah. There's really not much to talk about in the trigger lineup. Trigger lineups is like really personal, so you can really just put whatever you want. But this is my current Bruce list for the Overdress format before set 6 meta, since we're technically still in like set 5 meta or like festival collection meta. But like I said, like this version of the deck really doesn't change at all. I know there's other builds to whereas they're not playing Brian, they're not playing Pandemonium, but like I feel like Brian, like if you're playing grade 4 Bruce, Brian is just like so, like it's just so good. Like I know people are playing the other order, which is fine, but like you still have to play Brian. Because like you can make your Vanguard as big all you want with orders, with Wade, but okay, you're 33, 43, 38, 48, okay, how much damage? 2, 3 damage? Okay, or how much damage am I at? 2 damage? I'm at 3 damage or something with the Vanguard? Okay, no good. Like, you know, you have to make your Vanguard threatening. You have to have that pressure of like this attack is gonna deal you like 3 to 4 damage, and it's most likely gonna kill you. But don't forget to like, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the deck. Any changes you would recommend or what you would do. There is a match video that I have posted about this deck. I know you can't see my damage zone in the match video, but I posted it anyway because I feel like it was a very good game knowledge video to watch to see how I played around the Nirvana player and how I played around basically like, they'll always get to grade 4 before me, even like no matter if I go first or second, they'll always get to grade 4 before me because of their grade 1. And I felt like it was a very like teachable video to show like how I played around that grade 1. And yeah, later guys.